Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our next session of the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th Edition. Last time we left off with our brave trio of heroes at the doctor's, and we found out that one of them is suffering from he's missing some blood. He's not doing super hot. So we left them on their way to the apothecary. And for the most part, you're able to make your way across town without any issues. I'm assuming you're heading back to Jetten's.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. You're able to make your way over there without any serious issue. And as you... Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. As you walk in, the little bell rings atop the door, and the elderly man who runs the shop, who you have identified as Jetten, even though that may or may not be the actual case, looks up frowning. But when he sees the halfling, he puts his quill back into the ink and crosses his hands together while still frowning down at the lot of you. And,
Good day to you, Jetten. How you doing?
He he raises an eyebrow and he says, "I trust you didn't go through your purchases already, Master Halfling."
Oh, no, we got a... What did the doctor call it? He will look over to Vergstat. A big fancy name. It's on the paper.
An anemic friend of ours.
Oh, right. Thanks for reminding me of that, Ben. Okay. Yeah, he nods and says, "I trust he sent you with a prescription, then."
That's it. The person Kim thing. And
I
I
will
will
hand
wave
it.
the paper.
Right.
Thank you.
He will take it and look down it and nod, muttering to himself, and he slowly will rise from his feet and heads into a back room where he looks at it, reaches into one of many small labeled pouches, and starts assembling everything required.
While he's doing that, Sotek, can I look for all those things?
Yes. So the vitality draughts, I will need you to roll. I guess I'll roll it. That would make more sense. I'm going to roll to make sure he has those things in stock, because some of those things are a little rare. So they might not necessarily be in stock. Where is my other D10? There it is.
Yeah, so Vergstat, that's Jetten, the best alchemist this side of the Grey Mountains, according to the note here. And I will pull out my healing draught and show him the note.
Oh, he's who you got the healing drops from. I see.
Oh, yeah. We're great friends, aren't we? He's pretty busy, so he might not answer.
Of course, I understand.
He does not. Alright, you're able to find the vitality draughts. The bandages you find very easily. The healing poultices you also find very easily. And then the Faxteril that you require. Let's see if that's in stock. Yes, he does have Faxteril in stock.
Okay.
So yeah, you can pick up everything you want.
Sweet. Including the book?
The book you'll need to ask him specifically for. He doesn't have anything like that out on his shelves. After a few minutes, he does come back out, and he sets a bag in front of the three of you that has myriads of ingredients in it. And he nods slowly and says, "I've tied each of the doses together with a small amount of string. You'll simply take one of the doses, mix it into a container of some sort, preferably a mortar or pestle if you have it, and then mix it with water, boil it, drink it."
Understood.
And then he sees you gathering a literal armful of supplies and raises an eyebrow at you, Verve, but waits patiently for you to finish grabbing everything.
I'll gather it all up in my arms, and kind of make my way over very carefully, not to drop anything. And I will slide them all, over and say, should I weigh them together? How does this work?
He shakes his head, says, each type of item will need to go on individually.
I will nod and do so.
All right, he notes the scale every time you put an item down. He makes kind of a very brief mark on a piece of paper.
So I'll get let me get 3 draughts. 3 bandages, 2 of the factorial, and 3 poultices.
There's only 1 factorial.
Okay, then I'll just get 1 factorial.
Okay. Alright, so you said 1 factorial, 3 vitality draughts. How many bandages?
Let's grab 3.
3 bandages, and how many healing poultices?
3.
Okay. So he sits down for a second to do some math.
I will also say, I would also like a mortar and pestle so that I can, of course, take care of dear Verstadt. And I was wondering if you have perhaps a beginner's guide, something I could use when I am away from town and your expertise, good sir, to perhaps help our cause in healing my companions and myself.
He kind of looks up and nods slowly for a moment. He says, "We'll deal with this first, and then I can take care of your other potential request." Okay, so I need a calculator, because math. There's my phone.
Verve,
Yes.
you sure you want the mortar and pestle thing?
Do we have one already?
I look around behind everyone. I don't think so. I think mortars stand out a little bit.
I will blink, confused.
Big hulking things.
The old man the man you assume is Jetten, without looking up, mutters, "Different kind of mortar, halfling."
Yes,
Like the stuff between bricks.
No, a stone bowl with a stone, almost. I forget what the. It's not a stick. It has its own name, but whatever. I will describe it.
Pestle, I think, right?
Yeah, the pestle.
You wanted 3 vitality draughts, right?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Oh, one of those stone bowl things with a little stone stirring stick.
Yeah, just for grinding stuff up, basically.
So that's what those are called.
Yes, not the human contraptions that explode.
While the shopkeep is doing math, I'll say to Verve, so you think it's pretty normal that I have all this blood loss from animal bites?
No.
No.
I will say unequivocally.
Maybe you're just naturally tasty.
Maybe I am, but it just seems
I think we need to
coincidental for
check.
it to keep happening.
I think we need to check your belongings, and your room, and take this seriously.
He looks up from his calculations and says, "It'll be approximately 5 gold for your total. Then we can discuss the book."
I will push over 5 gold.
All right. He nods, happy that you didn't put up an argument about it, and then he frowns and looks at you, and he says, Now, you mentioned you're looking for a book to assist on your travels. Are you looking for a medical tome or an apothecary tome?
Which would you suggest for a novice like me in the ways of trying to heal others, out in the wilderness?
He scratches his chin a bit and says, well, if you're looking to apply a more surgical route and learn about actually closing up severe wounds or setting broken bones or what have you, then I might suggest the medical tome. I have a few of those in the back, training tools, though it might take some time to decipher it all, assuming you don't have a teacher. And then, but if you're looking to use what Sigmar or Tal has laid upon the very earth to your advantage and create things to help with random diseases or
that,
then you're going to want the apothecary's tome.
I will nod.
He nods and says, I know just the book. And he walks into the back and you hear him moving around back there a bit. And he finally comes out with a very old leather-bound book that's very wrinkled and cracked along its surface due to its age. But it seems to be well bound, and he slides it across the table and looks up at you and he says, I assume you can read.
I will nod.
He nods and rests a hand on it and says, this was a very helpful item when I started my own teachings, though I would still highly recommend you find a teacher at some point to make sure you're applying the necessary techniques. Books can only take you so far.
I will look at the book and say, that is part of my own thought, yes. Having seen what we've been through and dangers we have already faced in the short amount of time we have been together, I think this route might be a good one for our survival. And I will look at Verstat.
I'll cough and act sickly, because I am.
He kind of rolls his eyes a little bit, but says, in any event, this will only teach you the most basic formulas, but it should be enough to do what you need. However, I would personally recommend, and he points at your mortar and pestle and says, that will help you apply the treatments that I gave you. But if you're going to want to create your own mixtures or experiment, I would recommend picking up an entire tool set for the necessary preparations. Just a mortar and pestle is not going to carry you very far.
I will nod and say, for right now, the mortar and pestle will get me by. I can't go around the wilds and such carrying an entire apothecary's equipment with me all the time.
You hear him grumble something along the lines of not with that attitude underneath his breath, but he leans over and marks something on his inventory and then points at the book and says, I'm a little attached to this, but I'm more than happy to part with it for your little group for, let's say, 10.
Is this the point where I can break in and say 10 shillings and begin a haggle check?
Please.
Oh, you're such a great friend.
By all means, roll a haggle. He gives you the most old man scowl that his face can probably physically produce, and he says, he goes, I'll make it 8 gold, but I'm not going any lower.
Oh, wow. You got a scowl on you almost as good as me old man Bast's. He gave you a right mean look if you ever tried to grab his pie.
I will look to Verstat and Wrist and say, I still am required to purchase a horse. Would either of you like to assist me in this purchase?
Sure.
I can, but didn't he give you money for that specifically? I understand the horses are real expensive.
Yes,
Like, eight gold is a drop in a bucket.
he gave me like 10 gold for a horse.
Oh, you're a good joker, Verve. But I do have those 2 coins you lent me, so I'll give you those back.
Total was 8 shillings, correct?
No, 8 gold.
Oh god. For a mortar and pestle?
No, for the book.
No, for the book.
Oh, okay.
Now, do you still need more?
Yeah, how much do you need? I have 8 gold total.
So I have, after buying all those things, I have 14 crowns, 15 shillings.
So I should note that you will not be purchasing the horse with the money that you have on your person. Your goal is to find it, not to buy it.
Oh!
Somebody else will handle the buying.
Oh!
Because you could not...
I did not know this.
You could not afford... I think I told you when I dropped y'all off, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
You would not even... You would put, like, a laughable dent in the expenses for the horse that you're going to probably be getting, so...
Because I could have swore he handed me a sack of gold.
It would have been a much bigger sack if that was the case.
Oh. Okay.
10 gold is barely enough to get a half-decent pony.
Can you get a pony for 10 gold?
Theoretically, yes.
I will say, perhaps 1 or 2 pieces, gold pieces between the 2 of you would help immensely.
I will give you 2 gold pieces.
I will look at Vergstad with a grin. Oh, you're mighty generous today.
It seems to be for me, after all.
And I will look at Wrist and say, and for you, hopefully, it will never come to that, but it never hurts to be prepared, yes?
Oh, yeah, that's why I handed you the 2.
I will nod. Alright, I will fork over 8 gold crowns.
Alright. He quickly slides it towards him, and he seems very satisfied with the pile he's accumulated with today's sales. And he gently pushes the book to your side of the desk he sits across.
Might you have a cloth that I can wrap this book in to keep it safe?
He kind of nods and he says, "Do you not have a proper bag?"
I will look ashamed.
He shrugs, and he reaches, he says, "Wait here a moment," and he goes into a room where you see he actually seems to have a stack of cloths. There's one pile that's very neatly folded, and one that's just like a mountain of ones that have been discarded, and he grabs one of the folded ones and slowly approaches the table and sets it down and says, "That should do, though I would be very careful not to go out in any very particularly heavy storms with it."
I will nod and say, while I do have my backpack, I've learned some time ago that I should protect books as best I can from all the jinglings and other items inside. So this will help in that regard.
He nods absentmindedly and says, "I suppose that's true. Back in my younger adventuring days, I think I used to have a completely separate bag for my books now that I think about it."
I will nod and say, perhaps a future purchase.
He nods somewhat, and he does look down at the halfling with a slightly amused look on his face, and says, hopefully you won't be bringing any more sick people into my shop then, at least for a while.
Oh, no, I wouldn't be doing that on purpose. But it does look like, and I will look at the big pile of coins, it turned out well for you in the end.
He nods and says, true. You can bring by all the accentuated people you'd like, just don't bring any diseased folk in here if you can avoid it. I would much prefer to have them to send their things with them, or their medicine with a friend.
All right then, if that madman with the cage on his head and manacles and running around screaming cut chases after me, I won't duck into your shop.
He gives like a half laugh because he can't tell if that's a joke or not, but he just sort of like gives you a bit of a weird look. And then as he sits down to write again, he says, well, I hope you will come by again soon. And my name is not Jetten, by the way. It's Gurner. Jetten was my many times grandfather who started this shop.
Oh, well, my apologies, Gurner.
I will do like my half bow. Thank you very much, Sir Gurner.
Thank you, Garner. By the way, you said desanguination, like it was almost a common occurrence. Do you know of any other cases like this?
He looks at you up and down. He says, many, but not with your condition.
Recently?
He says no, after maybe battles or something, people come in with severe cuts or missing limbs. I've never seen anyone with your, you look fine, so I'm not sure what could be causing it.
He's been feasted upon several times.
Well, that was a theory about, about rats or something.
I will go over and grab your shoulder, like below the neck part where you've been bitten, and say, "Oh, really?"
Mutter under my breath, Verv, maybe we shouldn't be telling people I'm being feasted upon by something.
Gurner squints really hard behind the glasses that he wears, and he gives you both kind of a weird look. It says, well, you look fine to me, lad. Just rest up a few days and I'm sure you'll be fine.
Of course. Thank you, Gunner.
He does pause for a moment and he looks back at the prescription. He goes, well, you went to a good doctor at least. You'll be fine.
Oh, good to hear that Dr. Rupert's a good doctor. Unlike those two scallywags, do you remember their names, Verv? Those brothers.
Well, I know one of them, Dr. Detliv. I will try and, with my accent, probably butchering it. Dr. Detliv. He was a brother, a twin, something like that.
Gurner's going to shrug, and then he's going to wait politely for a few more seconds before he kind of coughs and says, well, if that's everything.
I will nod and say, thank you very much. You have been of great help.
He nods and keeps a vague eye, one of his eyes kind of looking vaguely in y'all's direction while he takes out his
let us go
and back to work.
Let the man work.
All right, we make our way outside. I lean heavily on my staff.
Okay. And Verve and Wrist, you both are aware that the Rune Lord is looking for Vertstat. Vertstat will not remember, based on how he was last night.
Oh, I had hoped I'd put that whole thing behind us.
You put it behind you.
Did the both of you go and talk to that nice dwarf?
I've already spoken with him.
Oh,
Vertstat
good on
still
you getting
needs it.
things done.
So...
Vertstat, you have no idea who they're talking about.
Right, the dwarf. Yes, I do need to speak to him.
I will roll my eyes and say, I will take Verstat back to the inn so that he can rest. If you can do me a kindness, since you're more of a people person, Masterist.
Okay, what's this kindness?
Locate someone who sells war horses. A breeder, perhaps. Something along that nature. And perhaps at least 2 of them so we don't get what is the human term I heard long ago? Pigeonholed? A curious expression.
Well, I mean, if you're shoving pigeons in the ground, I guess you're in for a raw deal. But yeah, I could go ask around and see if there's anyone. You looking for a good horse or just any old horse? Or a nag?
This is for the night.
Oh dear.
Yes, Rist, I believe Verve has just foisted upon her task to you.
I will still talk with said people. I just need to locate them. No one's going to talk to me.
That's a good point.
Ah, okay. Sure, I'll do that. Actually, you know what? I just realized something. What was Anders' name again? I know he's a noble, got a Von in front of it and everything. You remember what his last name was? I know he disabused me of using it.
Von Brunner, I believe.
Oh, isn't that... Okay, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Nothing will go wrong. Yeah, I'll go look for a horse person.
I will look at Wrist like tell me.
I will just look very confused.
So, you know that witch hunter I told you about?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Apparently, he was called in by Lord von Brunner because one of his sons died and they were pinning it on the old man. And if Anders is also a von Brunner and also in the region and pretty old.
Verstat will visibly gulp.
I mean, he's not going to be the young master, you see.
Verve will look confused, like she literally would not. She would not and does not understand.
Right.
I understand. She does not.
There's no trouble to be had with witch hunters. We'll just mind our own business and go about it.
I'm pretty sure that's when the witch hunters mind your business when you're minding your own.
Haha, good one.
You must really
Verve,
be
you
sick.
can see
He
that.
needs to lay down.
Hey, Vertstat, roll a cool check for me.
Yep.
Verve and Riss, you can both see that Vertstat is visibly distressed.
Oh no, should we get you some of your tonic?
No, I don't need any. Oh, the tonic that we make. Yes, I do need some of that. I thought you were suggesting alcohol.
My ma always said that was a right proper tonic.
You look very, very worse for wear all of a sudden.
Oh, you heard him. Desanguination.
Yeah, whatever that is.
I will not. I will take him to the inn, and you do what you do best, Masterist.
You sure you want that? I could just, ask around for someone.
Isn't that what I asked you?
Yeah, of course it is. All right, off I go.
What? All right, roll me a. Let me know where you want to try and go in the city to ask people, and what specifically you're going to ask, and then roll a gossip check.